you used to do a lot of promoting, right?
I did. I had concert promotion business.
Name some people that you've
Waylon
promoted.
Jennings, Jerry Garcia, Ricky Nelson, who was actually Ricky Nelson. You know, he died in that plane crash, and I really think he was going to break big before that plane crash. I'd done him 2 or 3 times, and he was packing the house. I did Jerry Lee Lewis once, but he never showed up.
He never showed up.
Wow.
He was on he was on some party train. And
How did you promote back then? Or how
What's
did
that?
you promote back then? Just like
I had
posters,
a production company, concert promotion business, and I would call and just book the acts. You know, the person that really got me started in it was Jerry Garcia, and I were good friends. And Rock Scully, who was the manager of the Dead, I used to go to the Dead shows all the time, and I'd hang out backstage. And Rock Scully had mentioned it to me. He goes, "Man, you ought to promote concerts. Garcia's starting his own band. We'll come down there. You promote him." And that's how I got started. I started with Garcia, and you know, I did a lot of country and western acts.
Is that the Grateful Dead over here at the?
I did.
Fairgrounds?
I did all the Jerry Garcia shows at not with the Grateful Dead, just Jerry Garcia, and wound up partnering up with Bill Graham. Bill Graham and I started doing the shows together, and then you know he got killed in that helicopter crash up in the Bay Area.
Is there good money in that?
Yeah, real good money.
There is.
Yeah, there can be, but you can also, you know, you can lose everything in one night. You know, if you get a guy like
I just know
Waylon
that side.
Jennings was getting $30,000-$40,000 a show, so you got to figure you got to, you know.
I mean, what does a
gotta sell it.
promotion guy get on that? 15 points?
Well, what you do is you pay for the act, and then you pay for the venue, you pay for the lighting, stage, insurance,
That's huge.
and then you know whatever's left is your profit, and that's what the promoter puts in his pocket. You know, I tell you, one of the best shows I ever did there. Remember Johnny Paycheck?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You do not.
Yes, I do. He was a jackass, right?
Well,
He was a
could be.
drunk?
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny because he had done a show up in Santa Barbara, and he was so drunk he fell off the stage.
Oh, shit.
So this guy was getting like $50,000 a show, and he got so bad, and he was
he worth
partying
it?
so much. What's that?
Was he worth it ever?
Oh, yeah, he would fill the place up. He had, you know, take that job and shove it. It was a huge hit for him. And so what happened was he went from $50,000 an act for a performance down to $2,500. He did a show up in Santa Barbara, fell off the stage. He was so drunk, and nobody would book him. So I called his manager up. I was friends with Paycheck, so I called his manager. I said, send him in about 3 days early. So he flew in like on a Thursday. I locked him in a motel room and kept him away from all the alcohol and drugs. Sobered him up, and then he went and did his show on Saturday. But every time I'd see him after that, you know, he'd always go, "You son of a bitch, you're gonna lock me in a room." But he was a good guy, and he was
funny.
really talented. That you know, that he had that novelty song, but I mean, they made a movie out of it. He made a lot of money off that song.
Was he flipping out in the room?
Oh yeah, he was flipping out.
Did you have some guys?
I had
watch
2
him,
guys
or?
that are with him that wouldn't let him drink or let him get any drugs. You know, feeding him, making him stay in the room, and you know, took him. We got there Thursday, and then the show was Saturday night. He was sober by the time the show was on.
Did he see you before you went on?
Oh yeah, I was. He was mad
Surprise!
at me. Yeah, I said, "Here I am, Johnny." But he did a hell of a show. He got great reviews and made up for him falling off the stage the time he was up there.
Did you do you have any other stories about other acts you've promoted?
Well, you know who Ken Kesey is?
No.
Anybody know who Ken Kesey is? Ken Kesey wrote "One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest."
Okay.
And he started the Kool-Aid acid test.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, right. So you would go to these parties, and they'd have a big tub of punch in there. It was full of LSD. And then
man.
And he had these guys called the Merry Pranksters. And, you know, you'd go like to a Dead show, and these guys would show up, and you never knew what had LSD on it. You'd only be careful. And we'd carry it around in Visine bottles, so the cops would know what it was, and it was liquid, and we would squirt it at each other.
Jeez. Boy, I missed all the good parties.
Did you ever just speaking about that, have you ever broken through, like back in the day, like to some, unlocking your conscience or
Well,
speaking to anyone?
Several times.
Spiritual.
I just don't remember 'em. No. Yeah,
because it's more of a spiritual thing than it is
yeah.
recreational.
In fact, a lot of the guys, we were getting. Do you know who Osley was? Do you remember Osley? Osley was the guy that made all the LSD up in. In the Bay Area.
Yeah, in San
I thought
Francisco.
that was
Bear.
I thought that was what's his face.
Timothy Leary?
Yeah.
No, he was the one that he was from Harvard. He was a philosophy
Yeah.
teacher from Harvard, and then he came out here to the West Coast, but he wasn't making it. He was the one professing that you should tune in, turn on, and drop out. That was his.
Well, I always thought it was him
tagline.
that invented it because the Grateful Dead made that song about him.
Well, that what they were doing was they were in, psychology department at Harvard, and they started taking LSD as experiments, and then it wasn't against the law. And then I think around the late 60s to mid 60s, I can't remember, 66 or 67, they started making it illegal to take LSD.
Oh wow!
And they all got kicked off the staff, and he came out, and he wound up going to jail for a while.
8 years. Yeah.
And that's where I met him through some Hell's Angels that were in prison, and he.
Did they take
escaped.
care of him in there?
Yeah, they took care of him.
And he took care of that.
It was party time.
God.
It's a good hookup to take care of. So why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he came home, he introduced me to we did a movie, Hell's Angels Forever, in the early '80s, and the Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia funded part of that movie, and if you watch that movie, you can get it online. Jerry Garcia's in there. He doesn't have gray hair and he's skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's old, but the thing was, Timothy Leary came home and he introduced us. Like he introduced me to Dennis Hopper, and Dennis Hopper was helping us with the movie, and then he introduced us to this film director called Richard. His name was Richard Chase, and we took a bunch of home movies, and Richard Chase was so clever. He created this docudrama, and it's a pretty interesting documentary. If you get a chance, you can get it online. It's called Hell's Angels Forever. It's entertaining, and there's good music in it. Bo Diddley, who was a good friend of the clubs. I used to always go down to the fairgrounds. He'd play down at the Ventura Fairgrounds back in the 80s, and we'd go down there and hang out with him because he'd come to the clubhouse and play, as a house band. The same thing with the Grateful Dead. Back in the 60s, they would play at Hell's Angel clubhouses, and the Jefferson Airplane, go to Golden Gate Park and hang out and party. Big Brother and the Holding Company. Janis Joplin was going out with a club member. Chocolate George was her boyfriend for a while. He got killed in a bike wreck.
It was Chocolate George chocolate color?
No.
I just didn't know.
He liked chocolate.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that's why he called him Chocolate George.
What are some names that you guys come up with that might have been
Moldy Marvin,
Moldy?
Terry the Tramp.
We used to give, like, when we first started doing Red Light,
Right.
like, we used to give people nicknames, right?
Right.
Like, if you were in it, we were just, like, there's this guy named Gay Jesse. Like, that was his nickname. Because he used to, like, when he would talk on a microphone, he would do this. And we had,
Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes, yeah. Like,
Who?
this girl.
The Hills Have Eyes?
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes.
It was a girl, and she thought she was, like, super pretty and shit, right? And they were like, hey, you look like Hills Have Eyes. Like, have you ever seen that movie? And then, like, this girl, she came out from, like, North Carolina, and she interned for us for a while. Her name was Average, because she was the best-looking girl in her town. And she tried to come to
just average
Hollywood.
here.
Yeah, it was like, you're just
You
average
guys,
here.
You guys are brutal.
They're so tough.